you should only call 911 in the event of an emergency. If you think it's life-threatening, or if you think property is being destroyed, such as in a fire, or you feel you're having a medical emergency, then that's the time that you should call 911. If you question yourself, such as you've had a finger hurting for a couple of days, or maybe you were in a car accident and your back is hurting and it's been like that, if you don't feel that your life is in danger, then you can go to a quick care, and it really doesn't mean that you need to tie up emergency resources, which could maybe needed at a fire or maybe at a true life and death situation.
Why have this press conference now? Are resources being tied up in a dangerous way, perhaps?
Well, here at the fire alarm office, 99% of our calls are already scrubbed by Metrocom, which is the public safety answering point for the valley, and that's where everybody's call initially goes in. So if it's really, really busy, if we have an event going on, there might be hundreds of people trying to call 911 at one time to report a building on fire down on the strip, or there could be some kind of a criminal activity in progress. Remember, all those people are calling, and well, mixed in with those calls are sometimes people saying that they're lost, they want to know how to get back to their hotel, how do you get to the airport, what are road conditions. All those calls are trying to go into one point at one time, and sometimes people are put on hold and they're tied up because of calls that are really not life-threatening. So what you should do is you should ask yourself, is this life-threatening? Or is it affecting somebody's property? Is it being destroyed? Or if you think one of those two conditions exist, such as I see smoke come from a building, but I'm really not sure if it's on fire. If your gut tells you think it is a fire, then you should call. Or if you're having chest pains and you're starting to attribute it to upset indigestion and you're questioning yourself, it's probably a good idea to have the paramedics come in and take a look at you.
Those calls about like road conditions, directions, I want to order a pizza, I mean, have they reached kind of a critical mass where it's like, it's not just once or twice a week we're getting these calls? You know, what's the frequency of those kinds of things?
You know, the call centers cover about 6,000 square miles, about 1.75 million people, 40 million visitors here. So you can imagine a lot of calls coming in. People get lost. It varies at the time of day. Sometimes you have spikes and sometimes you don't. But sometimes they can come in inopportune times when a real emergency is existing, especially a big one where you have a lot of people hurt, such as a bus overturn or a criminal activity like where on a strip you had 40 to 60 people that were injured. All these calls are all coming in at the same time. If we could just limit them to the ones that are life-threatening and the ones that are where property is in danger. 311 is another line where they will take urgent calls that are non-life-threatening, and you can put it on the radar when units become available. Then they will free them up and they will send them. But the other one is life-threatening. You can equate it to should I go to the emergency room or to the quick care? The quick care is 311. The emergency room, which is really safe for life and death situations, is the 911.
For people that have called 911 because there's a prowler in the neighborhood, or they're watching their car get broken into by a stranger, whatever it is, so things like that, they call 911. And it's something, and it can take a while to get people out there. Obviously, there's not enough resources to cover all of those things. Do you guys have any kind of a solution in mind or a plan to better address, neighborhood concerns like that?
Well, I think people would say, can you hire more 911 dispatchers? And then when not anything is going on, then you have a lot of people that are not taking the calls. And so when is enough? It could go up into the hundreds. You should have a plan on how you're going to deal with it. First of all, take care of your own life. If it's a life-threatening emergency, if you think somebody is breaking into your house, is there alternatives? Can you hide? Can you lock up? Can you escape and go someplace else where you can make yourself safe? Make the call to 911 if you get through and the line is busy. Can you make yourself safe by some other alternatives? When a building is on fire, we tell people not to call 911. We tell them you should concentrate on escaping and wait till you get to a safe place and then call us. So even if you get a busy signal or you can't get through, which has happened in some cases, at least you're safe. The property is being destroyed, but it's not as important as your life. Maybe you should learn CPR. So if you have a medical emergency in your home, you can take care of that medical emergency. So everybody should take a first aid type course and know how to do CPR. So if something happens, If you were to say we have a catastrophic event like an earthquake, we will never have enough dispatchers and enough resources to go to everybody else. So in those situations, you would have to take care of yourself. So if you get 911 and there is a busy signal, maybe you can handle that situation until you get through. And the other thing is, if you ever call 911 and it tells you to stay on the line, don't hang up and call again. That puts you at the bottom of the rotation. Just stay on the line and do exactly what they tell you to do on the phone.
Well, I guess the last thing I want to ask, just in general, is there a kind of a sense of frustration on your end, from the dispatcher's end, that we just can't get to everything, or people are calling with non-emergencies?
To that person that's calling in, it is an emergency. We help everybody that calls us. Sometimes we tell them it would be better if you go to your doctor instead of calling us and that. So we try to help those people out. We don't want to discourage people from calling, because in some cases when people don't think it's a real emergency, we go there and we find that it is. So, but if you think that it's something that you can handle, a quick care can handle it, you should go ahead and handle it. You can also call a private ambulance if you just need to be transported to the hospital for a checkup, and that doesn't need emergency resources. You can call and make an appointment and be transported non-emergency to a medical facility.
Letting people know this is an emergency, this isn't.
When people see the number 911, that means emergency, and if you look up the definition of an emergency, it's a sudden onset of an event, which is either life-threatening or it's destroying property.